Today I talk about our anxiety with compromised privacy. Welcome to Brand Restart, where I hit the restart button on brand strategy, unlocking new rules of branding based on my book, Building Brands in a Suddenly Changed World. And really, it's hard to get over just how much the world has changed in the last few years. One of the key tasks of brand strategists is to keep track of the zeitgeist, the thinking of the times, consumer realities, culture, trends. In the last 10-15 years, however, it became very hard to keep up with these things because it was changing so rapidly, which is why I made it my mission to proactively, constantly research on various aspects that act as markers of how the world has shifted. And then I put together how this needs to be reflected in our approach to brand strategy, our communication strategy, and our attempts to connect with the customer better. I wrote this article titled Compromised Privacy about 2 years ago, which was later compiled into this book, Building Brands That Suddenly Changed World. Today, I came across a post on Instagram which said, "Privacy is dead." And it spoke about AI glasses that can tell everything about you just by looking at you. My book becomes more and more relevant with each passing day. All your data can be scanned just by looking at you with those glasses on, having a conversation with you, because it quickly scans your face, scans your features, goes back to the internet, figures things out about you. There is data floating out there on the internet, right? And it can give all, it's the similar thing as today you ask somebody for their Insta handle, if they have an Insta handle, and you can tell so much about them just through that. Instagram is by choice. We are on Instagram by our own volition. But our information on the internet, which has been collected in copious amounts by all the apps that we use, is being used legally, perhaps with our permission, because you can go into the settings and correct permissions, and this is making people anxious. I will come back to how this impacts brand strategy and our endeavor to understand and serve our customers better. But let's talk about privacy a little more. Is this concern with privacy new? Wasn't the saying "the walls have ears" always in existence? That didn't technically mean that the walls have ears. What it meant was that there are neighbors who are eavesdropping on you, or there are nosy aunts who want to catch the gossip about you. Your secrets are set out. So privacy was always a concern. Today, the difference is that it's just new. While all these apps that we use our data, they in most cases use it to make our lives better. They try to advertise to us more relevantly and sell to us what we are looking for, as opposed to just random interruptions. In that sense, should we complain too much about our data being collected by these apps? Is a question. It's at least not being used to judge us or spread rumors about us. So I frequently come across articles and posts and reels, etc., which inform us, educate us on how to avoid our data from getting shared like this by apps that we use in our daily life. However, when you do go and change the settings, the experience of the app becomes compromised. So we are paying with our privacy for that convenience and better service. Advertisements always existed. We were always advertised to. It's just that now we are advertised to more relevantly. So kind of like a win-win situation. Those are my views. But the truth of the matter is that privacy as a concept is changing. In the years to come, humanity may indeed adjust mindsets to cope with this price it pays for a fantastically more convenient and better served living. Meanwhile, as brands, we need to do as much to alleviate consumer anxiety around it as possible. That is, we need to make that extra effort to let them know that we are not trying to exploit, or that we will protect them from scamsters and cybercrime. This is one of the realities of how the world is changing. The last few episodes or chapters in my book have been about these tech changes led by tech. Like my previous episode was about deep fake and its impact on human psyche, which you can check out. And this one is about compromised privacy. The larger point here is that we come from simpler times when there were certain names you knew you could trust with your eyes shut. There were certain institutions, the government, a lot of things that you knew, certain banks, certain governments, certain brand names There was a time when you just knew that these are the things that you could trust with your eyes shut. And today there's nothing left that you can trust with your eyes shut. Our eyes need to be open at all times. That makes life different. I wouldn't say difficult, it's different, and we are still adjusting to it. And the future generations will be a lot more adjusted to it than our generation is. What we need to be sensitive to as brand builders and as brand custodians is that this is a reality, and as much as possible, we need to make that extra proactive effort to enable trust, to help people trust. I would say we are moving from trust building to trust enabling. It's just a word difference, but it really changes our perspective on what is required today as brands. How do you enable trust? By multiple sources of information. So it's not just your one page and you're done with. You have to, because what people are doing now to cope with inability to trust something is looking for multiple sources. So we need to be present with our good intent at multiple sources. Good intent is, we can't do without it. Every day brands scams are being called out, and even in terms of FMCG products that have a different composition in other markets and in India, it's no longer secret now, people know it. Intent has to come through, and we have to constantly explain why. So there's this big controversy around Biscoff about how can that product be so much cheaper in India. But it turns out it's only because it is being locally manufactured. That's where the cost is being saved. The ingredients are not compromised. There are reels that are doing the job of alleviating this fear, right? But the taste, of course, is different for the two, which is the ingredients are not different. The taste is different for whatever, and that feedback will go back to the company. This is what the world is like today. The reel about Biscoff being the same as, I don't know if it was sponsored by Biscoff or not, but it's verifiable information. The information that's given, you can look at the ingredients list on the Indian pack and the imported pack, and you can compare. And there's a small thing about canola oil versus sunflower oil, just about where it's sourced from. The point I'm making with this case is that people need to have verifiable information about you easily available via multiple sources, and also having as much as possible in real life experiences. It's digital that is unnerving, which is new for all of us. So these are the ways, some of the ways in which we can alleviate the anxieties around our privacy being stolen. So that's today's episode up from this book. If you like what I'm saying, please leave a comment. If you disagree, if you want to add to it, please leave a comment. Subscribe to my channel, it will mean a lot to me. And let me tell you what my next episode is going to be about, which is the next chapter. It is about self-defense. So we know self-defense classically what it was, but what is self-defense in the digital age? More on that in the next episode. Cheers.